and the specific circumstances that brought about this election. And I got to say, to me, this statement perfectly defines the difference between the two major parties. Republicans approach each election with a kind of unbridled, undeserved confidence. They believe the voters are with them. They think they represent real Americans and therefore the real majority of the country. According to Republicans, Democrats are the party of the out-of-touch elite, the freaks, minorities. So Republicans should not have to think about whether their message is working or whether they are running good candidates. It is simply their destiny. It is their fate to be voted into power. But of course, what we keep seeing over and over in 2020, 2022, and now 2024 is that the majority of Americans do not like the candidates Republicans are running or the messages they are pushing. And the party refuses to learn that lesson. In election after election, they run unlikable candidates on ridiculous issues, and they lose.
Mazi Pilip was a soldier who fought terrorism, who supports stronger borders and lower taxes.
Tom Swazi opened the border. Tom Swazi funding the sanctuary city.
We will wage a war on the woke. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob.
I'm Dave White, and I'll never let CRT be taught in our classrooms.
There's nothing racist about stopping critical race theory.
We got to get this transgender ideology out of our schools.
My senior year, I was forced to compete against a biological male.
That's unfair and wrong.
Which one of you's from the New York Times? You know there's only two genders, right?
Every one of those candidates lost. But the Republican Party didn't learn from Kari Lake and trans swimmers or Josh Mandel and CRT or Ron DeSantis and the war on woke. They won't learn from Mazi Pilip and crime in the border either. Imagine, though, for a moment, if the shoe were on the other foot. I mean, it was totally possible, right, that we wake up this morning and the Democrat had lost this race in New York. And just imagine the amount of second-guessing that would be circulating in the party, in progressive and center-left circles, in the mainstream press, on the op-ed pages of the New York Times. It would be constant because the Democratic Party and the larger coalition is in a near-constant state of anxiety. They're always worried that their coalition will crack, that they will lose the support of real Americans. I think part of that is because the party apparatus is, in fact, dominated by college-educated people living in big metro areas, big cities, who make up a disproportionate number of campaign, political staffers, actual elected officials, and the media. And especially since 2016, that group of folks really does fear they're missing something key about what voters not in those circles think. Now, that fear that they're missing something can be pretty neurotic and debilitating. It's the source of, like, the, hundreds of diner safari pieces we've all read. But I will say this, I think it's also an important, helpful effect. The whole point of politics and elections is to win the support of a majority of people. So if you're always worried about losing them, you have to really engage with what the voters think and feel, how to reach them. It does, I think, keep the Democratic Party tethered to reality, while Republicans increasingly are just about the opposite of that. They are so convinced of their own virtue, they've completely lost sight of the fact that on a lot of topics, they're the ones that actually sound like freaks and weirdos. They are so certain they are the real Americans, they cannot see how far they are from them. Here's a perfect example. About how lost Republicans are. The conservative uproar about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Somehow Republicans are threatened by the image of the towering, square-jawed, conventionally handsome star athlete kissing his blonde, red-lipped, conventionally attractive pop star girlfriend. He's from Ohio, plays for Kansas City. She got her start in Nashville with country music. She's Miss Americana, and he's the heart-baked prince. It's like a 1950s James Dean daydream. They are quintessentially middle America, conservative-coded as it gets. And Republicans have so alienated themselves from actual middle America that this is a threat to them now. They can't hear it, though. They cannot learn from it. They cannot course correct. They keep attacking America's prom king and queen. They plan to run Mazi Pilip again in New York's 3rd District in November, and she'll run on the same issues. And they still support Donald Trump. Because when you believe that you never have to listen to what the voters are telling you, you can pretend that you won an election that you lost by 7 million votes.